What's going on, YouTube? Welcome back to Therapist Logan Reacts. Today we got a new one for you. We are going to switch it up a bit. We are going to do and discuss and break down and talk about different therapeutic sayings that are utilized in therapy who can be utilized in different scenarios and explanations. And again, just for you to better understand some therapeutic talk. So these are typically metaphors. They're typically short sayings that hold a lot of weight, or hold a lot of really deep explanation into different psychological practices, different psychological components, and different dynamics that occur, whether it's singular, parental, family, generational, couples, whatever it may be. There's always some dynamic to kind of at play. So the first one is a quote that I do not use, but it's actually, I think I've used it once or twice. It's very understandable, and it's an African proverb, and it goes, "The child who is not embraced by the village will burn it down to feel its warmth." I want you to take a moment and really think about that. Really let it sit in with you and really think about it. The child who is not embraced by the village will burn it down to feel its warmth. So I really like this one because it really focuses on how a child's development can be influenced. Again, it's not deterministic. I would say that individuals have a right and a theory to, again, work on themselves, but if they are not accepted, if they're not socially connected or being able to make long-lasting bonds and relationships, that child may burn down because they don't know what it feels like to be there. So a child who is not embraced, if you're not embraced, you're typically pushed away, you're ostracized, you're not accepted. And as humans, we're social creatures. We want to be accepted. We want to connect. And if we're unable to do so, that's going to create problematic. We see increase in agitation, explosive disorder, defiant disorder. You know, there's so many different components that we see in children who do not get those main pillars or steps or building blocks of development early on in childhood. And it makes sense. Again, they'll react to feel its warmth, the warmth that it thinks it needs. It will do things that aren't productive, the more maladaptive to the village because they weren't accepted. If they can't have something good, why should anybody? You know, and that's how we can, again. So if someone may be not accepted or may be difficult to connect with, maybe there's underlying factors, maybe that person just needs that connection. I feel like it's so important to kind of look out for other people, especially people who are alone, because everybody deserves somebody, and there's no reason for, even if people are a little different, if people don't really make sense to one another, that doesn't necessarily mean you have to ostracize them or not embrace them. You can embrace them in your own creative way, whether you guys have similar interests or not. But I really like this one. This one really steps out to me, and I just really like the reality of it, of how dark it can turn. Just how important being embraced as a child is, and how negatively it can turn out if not done or hitting the specific developmental milestones. Okay. So the next one we are going to talk about, this one, I kind of tried keeping them all the same that have to do with child development and kind of generational trauma, if you will, that can be kind of, again, passed down. But this one I really like because generational trauma falls in a lot of people, and it goes through families a lot. So This one is, I think, very powerful and can definitely help some individuals. I've never used this one specifically, but I couldn't find a good picture of the one I do typically use. The one I do typically use is generational trauma will be passed down, or the pain of generational trauma will be passed down until someone's ready to feel it. That's mine. Basically, again, just saying that if you continually pass down generational trauma, you didn't feel it, you didn't process the emotion or the generational trauma, you didn't heal from it. All you did was push it away until you passed it down in your own way. A lot of the time, we don't realize our impact on others. So that's kind of just how that plays out. But this one is the failures of our parents may become our burden. They may become our burden. We're not responsible for what our parents did to us. But it is our choice to continue carrying it onward into the next generation or to put it down. I really like this one because your parents are humans too. I'm not excusing if they've done any terrible things, but when it comes to generational trauma, we're very biased and unable to see what we're passing down and what we think is right. So it's important for us to constantly practice self-awareness, to reflect on what did I get from my childhood, both good and bad. And I need to be able to really sit down and be honest with myself that am I going to pass this down to the next person or the next child or the next individual? And I need to do my very best to not be part of that cycle. So that would be the biggest thing when it comes to generational trauma and really reflecting on those different things, you know. Generational trauma, there's some great therapists out there that really reflect in some of these components. They really explore these different truths, these different underlying themes that play such a pivotal role in how generational trauma continuously get passed down to the next generation. And it's able to do some family therapy can be awesome. Not family therapy as in like Bowen family therapy. I know that means nothing to you individuals unless you study psychology. But that could look like doing a family tree and seeing where there was disconnect, see where there was maybe love problem, maybe see there was marriage problems, financial problems, and see how that influences you, because family dynamics are passed down regardless. Whether it's generational trauma being passed down or just family dynamics being passed down. And again, that's how we base our view of what a family's supposed to look like. That's our first initial reaction. So we're biased from the beginning. So definitely look into some self-awareness stuff for that, and do some, some interpersonal family work. There's nothing wrong with doing that and exploring your family. That's why therapists will always ask, how is your relationship with your mom? How's your relationship with your dad? It's how you react to a parental figure of authority, who also had to be friendly, who also needed to be strict and authoritarian in some. There's very many hats that the parents had to pick up and put on, and a lot of the time they don't do the best job of it, which is okay. It's understandable. It's a lot of things, but to be realistic and again make sure that you're not passing along those things, because sometimes we take in those components that we did not like growing up and implement them our own way. And last but not least, one of my favorite ones. This one maybe not so much generational trauma. Yeah, I would say this is generational trauma. This is one of my favorite ones. I use this with my clients. I use this with people I'm teaching. I use this with students I teach. I use this with so many different people. I think this is an extremely important one. This is one of my all-time favorites. It's when you're born in a burning house, you'll think the whole world is on fire, but it is not. So this can mean an array of different things, and I really like this one because it can be so subjective. When you're born in a burning house, obviously this is a metaphor for not a great situation. It doesn't have to be the worst of the worst. It doesn't have to be the best of the best. There's some negative component here in this burning house. There's a burning house, right? If that's the place you were born, that's kind of what I was saying about the last one. That's your baseline. That's how you understand the world. That's your average. Your experience is what we take and place on subjective future experiences. if I'm born in a burning house, I'm going to anticipate the rest of the world is like that. So if I have to survive and do what I can in this house, I'm gonna do the exact same thing out in the real world, because that's what I was taught. That's my basic level of functioning of where I need to be. I'm constantly in a state of survival. And again, when they even maybe get, these individuals maybe get out of that survival instinct, they feel more comfortable being in a burning world. You'll see self-sabotage and see those things, because that's, again, what they were so used to. So I love this one. I think this is an extremely powerful metaphor. This is one of my favorites of all time. When I say this one, it really just clicks. I really love seeing that cathartic moment for people. And they just realize, like, wow, like, they didn't realize that, again, our data, our memories, our perspective, our anecdotal evidence is not scientifically backed all the time. It's often, again, just an array of our different emotions playing into our perception of how we view the world and our experiences, and it influences what we're going to do about it and how we're going to react and kind of make decisions moving forward. But yeah, that wraps up my 3 good sayings when it comes to therapy regarding, like, generational trauma. Let me know in the comments down below which one's your favorite out of the 3. I'm really curious. I think I'm gonna start doing some of these with different themes. There's so many great metaphors. I love a lot of them. If you do have one, if you ever heard one in therapy, drop it down below. Maybe I'll just react to it. I'll discuss my perspective on it, if I've ever used it, how it can be used, different components like that. Again, this is this is just more information just to explore, and let me know if, again, you felt any type of way with any one of these 3. I'd really be curious as to why, and kind of go from there. But yeah, let me know in the comments down below which one was your favorite. Make sure you drop a comment. Make sure you drop a like on this video as well, and make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you're subscribed. We are on our way to 3,000 subscribers. So let's get it. Let's go. Let's keep it moving and kind of go from there. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will catch you next video. I'll see you then.